Our next hero-themed Mastertronic game is an original Mastertronic release, unlike all the others in this series. It's on the MAD label and it's called Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon being a very popular hero, of course. So let's load it up and check it out. Nice artwork for the front cover on this one. We've got a nice Flash Gordon logo there. And we've got some very 1950s style spaceships. And Flash Gordon himself has got a lovely green and purple number on, as have his friends that have accompanied him. And let's presume that's Ming the Merciless in the background, shall we there. As mentioned, it's a MAD release. That logo appears again on the spine, of course. And on the back we've got several screenshots. One looks to be a 3D sort of driving stage. And then we've got what looks like a fighting level. And the blurb says, 24 hours to save the world. Take Flash to this multi-load mega game to find and destroy the evil Ming. 3 different challenges to overcome, each more testing than the last. Flash Gordon is... Oh, I see. Flash Gordon is copyright 1986 King Feature Syndicate. I wonder what the hell was going on there. And at the bottom there it says music by Rob Hubbard, so that's a good sign. Inside we've got, as expected, the instructions. 24 hours to save the world. Plenty of detail there about each of the stages. And it tells you how to play the game. Again, more about the different stages. Loads of instructions. And then you've got the controls inside there. So you've got controls for when you're in the jungle. Controls for when you're battling Barin in the second stage. And also the final stage on your bike. Bike control panel, and a bit more about the controls there. And at the bottom here it says, should you defy the odds, triumph over adversity and all that, you will catch sight of Ming as he flashes along on his jetbag. Take him out quickly as he fights back in a particularly efficient manner. Done all that good, you've saved the world. Well, that doesn't sound like too challenging a task. And that's it for the instructions. Very comprehensive. Pretty decent loading screen here. It's a bit monochromatic, but nicely detailed drawings there. And it says there by Alex Raymond, I think that says. I assume that's the creator of the loading screen rather than the creator of Flash Gordon, I'm not entirely sure. And at the bottom we've got the Mastertronic logo, and it says they're written by K Green and graphics by S Murray. K Green is Kevin Green, who did several other games for Mastertronic, including Chromazone and Night Driver. Oh, the screen's gone off, it must be getting close to being loaded. So here we have the title screen of sorts. It's not really a title screen, there's no credits or anything like that on there. It's just this rather pink graphic with the Flash Gordon logo and some nicely rotating planet graphics there. And a bit of an intro to the game. So Flash, the Earth will soon be under the attack from Ming. You must stop him. Seek help from Prince Barin. And obviously you can hear a bit of music there, which is by Rob Hubbard, as mentioned on the inlay. So let's get the game started. And so the first stage of this 3-part game is to make your way through the jungle and find this prince. And there's a few things to point out on this initial screen. The top bit's where you move around, you can see him moving backwards and forwards, wearing a nice red suit. It looks a bit like a red Tron suit actually. At least it's not the purple and green from the front cover. So on the readout on the display here you've got 24 hours to save the Earth, so you can see hours and minutes there, 23 hours, 27 minutes, they count down pretty quickly. You've also got some bullets, which are the 2 sort of blobs there, each one with 6, and there's also this map. This map's supposed to give you some indication of where to find this prince. The slight problem here is, first of all, there's no compass, so I don't know which way I'm facing to start with, so although that says north, I don't know if I'm pointing north, east, south or whatever. Secondly, there's no marker on the map for where you are currently, so I don't know if I'm there or somewhere in between, and this X, well, that could be me where I'm starting from, or it could be where the prince is. Basically what I'm trying to say is the map's completely bloody useless. So to get through the game, the idea is you're supposed to map it out yourself. It even says that in the instructions. And I've tried to do that to a certain extent, but I've just given up and got lost in the jungle numerous times. So I'll give it a go and show you a few of the things you'll encounter whilst in the jungle. The music does change depending on which screen you're on. I don't know if it's supposed to indicate a threat of some kind or not, so I'm just going to carry on walking left for a while to show a few different things. This is the first one. They get these 8 men jumping out of the trees towards you. Some of them carry shields, some of them don't. Shooting's a bit interesting. Rather than holding the fire button down to shoot you actually push up for a high shot, forward and up for a medium shot, and down and forward, i.e. towards the bottom left, for a low shot like that. So bit of a peculiar arrangement. And also to jump, you hold the fire button down and push back to the right, and he does a flying kick when he jumps. He's quite nicely animated. He's kind of very slow running, so he looks like he's running, but it's more of a sort of plod really. But all in all, the graphics are pretty nice. Nice sort of atmospheric jungle there with all the sort of black vines and everything hanging down. So anyway, we'll move on. Here's another one of these things. Best thing to do is just try and hit them before they drop out of the tree. As you can see, you've got skulls in the scenery as well. There's some nice animation of the enemies as well. Here you've got spiders. You've also got a bat or something flying along here, which you can jump over. You don't have to shoot everything. In fact, you probably shouldn't, because you've got a limited supply of bullets. So here I come to one of these crossroads, and to move around on the crossroads, you can stand at the crossroads. If you hold the fire button and push up, it'll go upwards. If you hold the fire button and push down, no surprise, it goes downwards. So for example, if I go down there, it'll go into another crossroads, which he's just come out of from the right hand side, but I'll just go back there for now, and I'll carry on going left. Let's see what happens if we carry on going left first of all. Okay, so there's various markers. Just try and get rid of this guy. Various markers around that sort of help you to plot your map. So there's like a stone head kind of thing there. But what happens sooner or later is you'll come to basically a dead end. Oh, the enemies do respawn, by the way. Oh, and when you get hit, rather than losing a life, what you do is lose time. So basically you lose the time that you've been knocked out for, which in the case of that was about 3 hours, which is pretty medically dangerous, I would have thought. Anyway, so moving on, we'll try and get up at this crossroads and see what we can find. Ah, okay, this is useful. As you can see, I'm nearly out of bullets. Every so often you'll find these crates, and if you duck down over the crate, it refills your bullets. So basically it's a replenishing your ammo kind of affair. As mentioned, you do get markers. This one's a rather inviting skull and crossbones on a sign there. And once again, I've come out of another junction. You can come out not just from the left and right, but also from above and below, obviously. As you can probably tell, there aren't too many landmarks on these crossroads, and that's what makes it really particularly difficult to navigate. I will continue to try my best to work my way around it, however. Yep, there's another one that looks pretty much exactly like the last one. And another one where I've come out from the left hand side. So we'll keep moving around. I am trying to follow... I'm trying to follow the directions I've drawn for myself earlier. I completed several pages of notepaper. There we go, just got rid of those. Occasionally you'll see these signs with an arrow on, which I assume is supposed to point you the way you need to go. So I'll carry on going to the right now for as long as I can. Also, you can see a skeleton there, and I'm wondering whether that's pointing out this part of the map, which could mean that I'm getting quite close to the cross, or it could mean that I've actually walked past all this already and I'm all the way up here. As I say, the map's completely useless. Let's go right again, and there's a whole series of these junctions coming up now. As you can see, some of the skeletons get up Jason and the Argonaut style. You can't... Oh, I just got killed by them. Or I should say just knocked out. Yeah, even a spear just knocks you out for a little bit. You can take out these guys by a well-placed flying kick, but they don't stay dead for long. So there's some quite atmospheric music in here. I wonder if this is suggesting that I'm getting closer to where I need to get to. let's progress and see. Wow, there's a lot of beasties on this level. Luckily, these two should be fairly easy to avoid. And this is the enemy I wanted to point out. This is a giant dragon monster thing which has just killed me. Some kind of fire-breathing Tyrannosaurus Rex. Often seen in the jungle. As you can see, the arrow is pointing this way, so I'll carry on walking this way. And based on that, I should probably go upwards from here. Which has led me to what looks like a corner, but it is not actually a corner, so I'll just carry on walking to the left. And that's, rather annoyingly, put an arrow pointing back the other way. That guy got me just as I was trying to get off the screen, and my time is rapidly running out now. I've got to basically 1 minute 30 seconds left. So one set of arrows is pointing this way, one set's pointing this way. Where the hell am I supposed to go? Let's try going up, shall we? Okay, well, at least there's something different there. There's a crate. And I've come into another clearing, and this is what you find, you just basically get lost. So let's go up from here. And that seems to have put me back at this point that I was at just a couple of screens ago. And that's what I mean about it just being really confusing and very difficult to work out where the hell you're supposed to go. I think the ideal way to play the game is to get a piece of graph paper and map the whole thing out right from the beginning. But I haven't got the patience for that. Oh, this is new. Whee. Nice vase there. And there's a crate there as well. I'm nearly out of time though. It's a bit annoying because I think there's the potential for quite a nice game here. It's just getting a little bit frustrating to try and get anywhere, and that's it, I'll be dead now because that'll tick away my remaining time. So it's, without completing this first stage, it's impossible to see the other two stages, and on that basis I can't really say that I'd want to pay $2.99 for this game. However, I have actually managed to pick something up which is going to allow me to see those other two levels and perhaps give a better impression of what the game's like. So all I can say is stay tuned. Now then, something you might not know about Flash Gordon is it was also released by Mastertronic in the USA, but they couldn't use the Flash Gordon name for some reason, licensing or something like that I imagine, so it was actually called Captain Zap, and by pure fluke a copy of this game on disc became available on eBay last week, and I bought it for just 99p, and here it is. Quite familiar looking artwork. Well, we're going to take a look at the box and in fact the disc as well, since I've never seen a Mastertronic disc release. But the one particularly interesting thing about this is it's got a practice mode which lets you play the other two levels. So first up quickly, this is what a Mastertronic disc release looks like. Pretty basic stuff. Got the Mastertronic logo, the name of the game. That's pretty much it. So here's the box, and as you can see it's exactly the same artwork as Flash Gordon, the English version. The main difference being it's not a MAD release, it's just got the Mastertronic logo at the bottom, and obviously it's got the Captain Zap logo at the top there. Quite interesting to look at this stuff. I've not seen anything like this before. So there's the spine. As you can see, they kept the grid style design to the packaging, albeit not the typical black and blue. The other side of the spine is exactly the same. And on the back, quite a lot of information, several screenshots as well, 2 of that first level, 2 of the second level which is the fighting level, and also 1 of the final 3D motorbiking thing. So the bump's pretty much the same. I think it's the same as what was in the instruction manual in the original release, or the tape release I should say. So instead of being Flash Gordon, you're superhero Captain Zap. And instead of Ming the Merciless, it's Targ. And there's various other things. You have to find Prince Gorams rather than whatever the guy's name was in the Flash Gordon version. So basically they've just changed the names, but otherwise it looks to be pretty much the same. And down the bottom, as I mentioned, you can load side 1 for the actual game and side 2 for the practice game. Well, we're going to load the proper game first just to see if there are any differences. We should also take a look at the instruction booklet that came in it, I suppose. So there's Captain Zap instruction booklet, and it's pretty much the same as the instructions on the tape. Seems to have been fleshed out a bit. I'm not going to go into too much depth on it, but you've got the same sort of instructions about battling and stuff. You've got the same introduction, which is off the back of the cover, how to play the game, and on the inside back cover we've got pretty much the same. It's basically just the same instructions that were crammed onto the tape cover, probably just in a bigger font. But it's quite a nice little booklet anyway, with the Mastertronic logo on the back. And the copyright, 1986. So here's the loading screen of the disc version. As you can see, pretty similar to the original. There's a couple of differences. Obviously the logo at the top is Captain Zap. It hasn't got the copyright, which I think was on the Flash Gordon version, because obviously there is no copyright. But I think the main significant difference is that they've given Flash a Just for Men job on his hair and a moustache by the looks of it. Not sure if Ming looks any different. It doesn't look like it on the face of it. So here's that opening screen again, renamed Captain Zap, and as you can see there's Captain Zap with his moustache. And the text's been changed as well. Your Earthworld will soon be under attack from Torg. You must stop him, seek help from Prince Gorham. But beyond that, it looks to be exactly the same. There's no mention of Flash Gordon in the game itself anyway. So it looks pretty much the same thing as before. Yeah, there's them ape guys. So let's now load up the practice mode on the other side and see what the options are there. So we're presented with this relatively dull looking options screen with the Captain Zap logo on the top there, and the choice of the jungle scene, the fight scene or the bike scene. Well, I don't think we need to see the jungle scene again, so let's load up the fight scene. So the fight scene has loaded, as you can see, and I'm the guy in red, as in the first stage. I've got to fight a guy who looks identical to me, but in green. It's a one-on-one versus fighter type game. The music from the first stage is also included, or one of the pieces of music. Some quite nice graphics in the background. But the most interesting thing about this is the way in which you score hits, or rather the way your hits are contribute to the way you're playing the game. You see this little tug of war going on at the bottom, and basically you've got to tug the guy all the way to your side in order to beat him, which means that the fight could go on forever. If one of you lands a couple of hits and then the other one does, you could be fighting all day, which is quite interesting. There are quite a lot of moves and the animation's quite nice on it. Unfortunately, the most effective move is also the most easy one, which is just to run straight at him and hit a few punches, which doesn't make it the most exciting of fighting games, but we'll carry on and see if I can at least beat him. Not much more to say about it, however. Oh, there's a clock ticking down at the top as well, I should mention that. I'm guessing that the time on that clock, if you were to play the full game, carries over from the first level. But that is purely a guess, and it's never going to be any more than that, because I'm never actually going to play the first level again, I don't think. This looks to be a pretty even fight, and there must be some way to try and get an advantage, but I haven't quite worked it out yet. And the battle still goes on. One thing I should mention again is about the controls. They're a bit peculiar, because most of the attacking moves, the punches and kicks and things, are actually done when you don't press the fire button down, and then when you press the fire button down, that's used for things like somersaults, which are all very nicely animated. It's got the makings of quite a decent fighting game, except it's too even. The battle's too even. As you can see, he's beating me ever so slightly, but all I've got to do is land 2 or 3 decent punches, and the tug of war goes back to the middle. Annoyingly, the first time I played this, I actually beat him, and I've got nowhere near since. And I guess it's a draw. So let's now try and load in scene 3, the bike scene. So this is the final section, the bike riding section. You don't actually control the speed of the bike, it just trundles along this patchwork quilt of a area, which gives you an illusion of speed which is very slow. Left and right obviously steer your left and right. Up and down actually control the height at which you fire missiles, and you've got to shoot them at these winged things that are coming flying towards you, otherwise they shoot you. And that's pretty much it. It's very difficult to line up your shots to shoot these things. It looks like the missiles are going right at them, but they just don't seem to hit them, as you can see. Oh, hey, got that one now. There's two like blobs on the right hand side, left and right hand side, but they don't seem to move up and down either. I don't know what's going on there. Again, we've got a timer at the top of the screen, which I assume again is influenced by the timing of the previous levels if you played them, but on this it just starts at 4 minutes I think and ticks down. And that's it really. If you survive long enough, you go into a minefield, which I'm doing alright at the moment, so it's possible that I might get to the minefield bit. See, you just can't shoot these things. And how slow is this guy going really? Unless I'm missing something on the controls about to speed up. He's really just like, it's not really a jet bike if that's what it's supposed to be. So here's that minefield that you've got to make your way through. I did have to restart to get to this. Apparently I didn't shoot enough stuff the first time round. So the idea is you've got to get through this and then you'll be facing off against Tog the Terrible or Ming the Merciless or whatever he's called. But getting through this looks to be quite difficult also, as you can see. Oh, and that's game over. I think I've seen enough anyway. So there's also the option here to press Z to exit game. I don't see that very often in computer games, certainly not in Commodore 64 ones, so we'll press that in a moment. But just to sum up, there's quite a lot going on in the game. It's quite nicely presented. The gameplay's a bit hit and miss, and overall it's frustrating because the first level's so difficult. If they made the fighting level the first level and the jungle the second, it might have been more accessible. So not worth $2.99, and whatever the disc cost, probably something like $10 or $15 back in the day. So we're not going to say it's worth that, but interesting anyway, in so much as it was nice to look at the disc version as well as a comparison. So let's just press Z and see what happens. Absolutely nothing. That was an anticlimax.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.